Okay. So Comfort Diallo Sumbri is president and CEO of the Adinka Group, an African cultural resource company with the mission to cultivate cultural exchange opportunities and facilitate small business development and investment throughout the African diaspora. In December 2018, Diallo was appointed U.S. Ambassador for Tourism for Ghana in recognition of his impact on the country's cultural and tourism sectors and his role as one of the architects of the Year of Return. Comfort Diallo's professional and educational background is in the arts, administration, and education, and have uniquely positioned him to be a creator of valuable projects that connect people of African descent with their rich cultural and ancestral heritage. Diallo holds a master's degree in public administration from the University of the District of Columbia, and also serves as a director of partnerships for AfricanAncestry.com. Diallo is a husband of 20 plus years, a father of 2, and a proud and doting grandfather. So with that, we will let Mr. Akom Diallo Sumbri take it. Diallo? Did we lose him?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
We hear you.
Kwaba.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
He's going in and out.
Diallo? Oh man, it was just working.
Can you hear me?
Now we hear you, yes.
Okay, I'm saying my power just came back on, so at least you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
So let me start off with the fact that I had this joke lined up where I was going to say clearly I'm assuming it's my folks' power is heavy because we can't turn on electricity when we need it. And just as you started, my lights came on. So I guess that's their way of telling me to check myself because they have reached ECG. That they have reached ECG and just to keep the faith. But it's almost like without fail, like literally. Every time I have to do a conference call or something, the power goes out. It's almost like, I don't know. So if everybody could just give me a few minutes, because my phone will switch from my mobile data to my Wi-Fi, which will cause a disturbance. And it'll be much easier and clearer, I believe, if I'm able to do this from the computer. And, I could see you all and do all of that. So I just need like maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, go ahead, do that.
Mind.
No problem.
But you know what? It's if you can hear me clearly, I'll just keep talking, but I kind of hear my voice. It feels like I keep cutting out. It feels like my voice keeps cutting out. That's why I want to do it through Wi-Fi so that I don't have to keep saying, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay. But we can hear you.
Okay. So again, I'll just say Akwaba, everybody. My name is Diallo Sumbri. I come from Kwaba Naduku. Nana Adada Kofi Akomfo. I was trained with Nana Yorinchi Jabi the First and Nana Inyo Techi Ampon from 2010 to 2014 in Washington, D.C. For those of you who I might not know personally, I was born and raised in Trenton, New Jersey, grew up in the Pan-African Independent School cultural community between Washington, D.C., between New Jersey in Washington, D.C. My family moved to D.C. in 1989, which is probably when we became a lot closer and more in touch and familiar specifically with Akom culture and adopting Akom culture as a lifestyle and in the spiritual order. Let me see, is it back up yet? So that happened when we moved to DC. I decided to train around 2010. And that was, well, I didn't really decide. It's like I decided, but then it was also decided for me in a sense. And I'm sure most people are kind of familiar with that, mainly because I knew some years early that I needed to train. So for me specifically, I think I knew it was a certain point in my life when I was like, all right, I can't really get to the next level, whatever the next level is, without some kind of spiritual discipline, and without adhering to some kind of order, right? And as they say, to be a master, you have to submit to a master. So it became apparent to me that that was something that I needed to do, kind of for myself. And I had watched my mom, my wife, Akom Kese, and just a whole bunch of the different members in the community in DC. And then I knew that when I trained that it would that I needed to train, and I needed to kind of find my way and figure out who I was going to train with and all of that. So I approached the process almost like a college or a job interview. And I began vetting different shrine houses or what have you, and just going to visit and talk and ask questions. And I landed with Nana Yarinchi the first. And I found a home there, and I found a home there fairly easily from the beginning. And that was mainly because in our first conversation, he did something that no one else did, which was offer me a meal and offer me the ability to come, sit down and talk. And, at the time for me, I didn't feel like I was being pledged or anything. And it was just kind of like, let's talk about spirituality. It just really worked. And then in our conversations between he and Nana Inyo, they exhibited and showed some faith and belief in me, in that they felt as though if I trained and if I took it seriously, then the ancestors, the Abosun, would conspire and work with me in my favor, and that there was greatness if I was able to kind of sift through my own BS and find it. So I start off that way just to say that I'm indebted and I'm grateful to Nana Yarinchi and Nana Inyo for taking me into their home, taking me as their son. And if you don't know me very well, I'm hard-headed. I'm pretty hard-headed, I can be. And at that time in my life, I wasn't the easiest person to like, maybe. So you would have really had to kind of see something in me to want to commit and give me some of your time. So just let me start off to say that I appreciate them for that. And that is in 2014. The first time that I came to Ghana was only in 2014. And I say only because so many of my family, friends, and community had trust so long before me. So I still consider myself like little bro when it comes to time and experience in Ghana, because it's still new to me. Like being in Ghana in some ways is still new to me. I don't have that much time under my belt. But anyway, so that's kind of just a basic intro that I wanted to really give credence to my teacher, and to say thank you to him, and thank you to Nana Inyo for their constant belief in me. It took me 6 years to finish undergrad because I was hard-headed. And I'm gonna say it took me 4 years to finish my training, my initial training. I'm understanding that, training and graduation is really just the start of a new beginning where you kind of really begin to figure things out. but I needed my first year to just pay a lot of fines. So I remember starting training and just asking Nana, can you just give me the list of fines so I could just start a fine savings account? Because I know I'm gonna break all the rules. So let me just prepare. And I appreciate that he didn't see that as somebody that he should, dismiss, as opposed to send me the list of fines so I can pay them. All right, so Coach, I'm gonna switch right now to online, and hopefully that makes a difference, or hopefully it doesn't make it worse.
Okay.
I love that story. Oh my goodness gracious.
It's so
That was the
open,
first.
so honest.
Yes, that's the first time I ever heard anybody ask for all the fines.
I want to see his face. I want to see how he looks. I want to come on camera so I can see him. See a rebel.
He's working on his connection in Ghana right now. So we'll get it as soon as we can. I'm at Mbola.
So
His picture's up over there.
I'm gonna launch a poll to see to gauge the audience in reference to who would like to move to Africa. So we can just have an idea. Oh, I got Ghana/Africa. So we can give that information to Diallo so that he can use that as part of his presentation. Does everybody see the poll?
Yes.
I see it.
Wow, okay. So far you have 60% of the vote and
Okay, how about now?
72%.
Yes, we hear you. Yes.
I see Nana Yao and Nana Inyo sitting there.
Hey.
Nana.
Hey, Diallo, do you see I got a poll up.
I took it. I answered yes. I would move.
Okay,
Good to know.
we didn't know how long you would be the transition, so we figured, hey, get people engaged, and then you can use this information that you get for your as a part of your presentation.
Okay, cool. All right, we can move on to the next slide.
All right.
I have some clear objectives. That date is wrong, so forgive me. I wasn't able to change it before I logged on, but I have some clear objectives for what I want to accomplish today in this presentation. And I'll give you just kind of a general overview of the book. I'll give a general overview of kind of my work, our work in Ghana from 2014 to the present. And then as opposed to trying to go through the whole book, I highlighted 70% great. I highlighted some specific chapters that I felt like maybe more or less what people might want to hear about, but I think that I try to reserve a lot of time for conversation more or less than questions, because I just always believe that my power just came back on, so I'm getting my life set back up. So yeah, I just believe in conversation because I believe that there's still so much that I'm learning. So I don't necessarily profess to be an expert, so to speak, as more as I do to a continual learner and somebody who's a sponge and just really tries to soak up as much information and then be able to figure out how to apply it. So the highlighted chapters that I will discuss are defining your personal why, healthcare, privilege, expectations and relationships, managing bans, money and finance, legal living, citizenship, residency and permits, dirty games, land, real estate and renting, managing traffic, business and investment, shipping, moving and living, and then pitfalls to avoid and repatriating, learning from our mistakes, and then Q&A, questions, conversation. So that's kind of how we'll go through this. Hopefully we can get through it in like 60 minutes. I think the house rules for questions, if we can do questions at the end, it's better. But if you want to take them during, it's cool. This is family, so like I'm real kind of loose right now, because I know that this is family, but I'm not going to cheat you in terms of the information. And it's also 11 p.m. So after having a full day, you know, I just took like a shot of bitters before this call, just so I could give myself some vim. Hold on real quick.
So what we usually do, and I think we'll continue to do that, is if you can type your questions in the chat, and when we have like a natural break in the discussion, then I'll go through the chat and and read the questions out. How's that sound?
That's cool.
All right.
So go to the next slide. Okay, a Smart Ghana Repatriation Guide is available now. You can get it on the website, www.theadinkagroup.com. It's not available on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any of those sites yet. I intentionally went with a black printer, even though I paid like an extra $2 a page, and I intentionally am selling it myself. This is what I call my Master P, like selling CDs out the trunk. So the second edition will probably be on Amazon, maybe, or something like that. The book is 218 pages. There are 20 chapters in the book. I have 10 guest contributors. One of the things I wanted to do was to be able to amplify other people's voices. So as opposed to just hearing about my experiences and my thoughts, I've added people who the average person wouldn't know, but these are just real life. These are people in real life who I have a relationship with, and who probably helped me out somewhere along the way. People who I felt like, you know, I wanted to use this also as an opportunity to introduce people to my audience or people who might buy the book. There's about 106 scannable QR codes. So nobody knew the pandemic would happen. So when I started this book in 2020 and started thinking about the book and eventually decided to move the QR codes, I really didn't have an idea that the world would eventually be moving the QR code. So if you're going out to eat at a restaurant or so many places like that now, you'll see that people are using QR codes to scan menus and stuff like that. So it just helps and works that so many people are used to QR codes. So the QR codes are dynamic, which means that it allows me to change the content associated with the QR code. Most people who read a book don't necessarily want to read the book next to their phone, but this book is designed for you to read it and scan as you go along. So as you go through each chapter, you know, if you get to the part of the chapter where there's a QR code and you scan it, it's going to take you to a video, an article, or some content directly related to what I'm talking about at that specific point in the book. So it gives you kind of a little more depth in terms of understanding what it is that I'm saying or a point that I'm trying to make. Okay, next. So here is just kind of an outline for some of the things that I've done in Ghana, or what my past, a broad strokes outline of what the past 4 years have kind of looked like, 5 years, 6, whatever. So the first time I came to Ghana was in 2014. Again, I came to Nana Yao to complete my training, and I didn't go to Accra at all. So I spent my entire time in Yamabechide, from the airport directly to Yamabechide. And then I stayed in Yamabechide, between Yamabechide and Koforidua the whole time. Maybe I went to Larteh once or twice. I can't remember, but that's where I stayed. And I was here specifically for my graduation. So I really didn't understand, or I didn't get how cosmopolitan a city Accra was, or tourism. None of that stuff was really on my radar. I had spent the prior 10 years traveling back and forth to Senegal, naturally, drum and dance cultural community, Senegal, Guinea. That's kind of really was my focus. And I think in 2014, I was even trying to I started planning trips to Senegal in 2014. So I went back to Ghana in 2016, and I went back for another graduation, my brother. So, you know, again, went back to Yamabechide. I mean, I had loved Yamabechide and Koforidua, even though it's a small town. I just fell in love with everything there, the people and just the feeling, the spirit. Plus it's like, you know, when you graduate someplace, you connected to some place in a different way. For me, it was. So anyway, in 2016, went there. Since I wasn't graduating, I had a little bit more freedom. And we went out one night, we decided to go to Accra. So we went to Accra for like 36 to 48 hours, had a real wild and crazy time, things that I probably wouldn't talk about to you all, but we had a really wild and crazy time. And then when we came back, we were still in the festival. So when we came back, whatever time we came back the next day, at that point, somewhere in that point, I got, it was either a message from it was a consultation with Nana Yao in the shrine. It's like, you know, Adadi has a message for you. And, you know, I used to be a little nervous every time he said Adadi had a message for me because I just knew it was a fine. I'm like, I don't know how they keep figuring out the stuff I'm doing. Like, they must work with the feds or something. The spirits gotta work with the feds because the way their eyes are, they finding out stuff. Like, I'm like, I only took one tote. Like, how they know I stopped? It's like, so anyway, the message came to me that if you decide to plant roots in Ghana, and if you choose Ghana, things will go well for you. Like, things will go well and you will get the support that you need. But you got to take it seriously, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So at that point, I had already decided, like, well, let me just listen. Let me just start to listen and question less. So when I hear the God voice and I hear the messages, I'm gonna just move and just move immediately. Don't question, don't, because I felt like training is really a part of it, really kind of saved my life in a lot of different ways. So like the next day after I got the message, I went on Facebook and I was like, who want to travel to Ghana with me? And a lot of people was like, yes. It was literally that simple. And then I said, all right, I'm gonna put together a trip. So, but I realized that I had not been to Accra. I didn't know Ghana. So I decided that I needed to come back in 2016. So I came back that fall. And, you know, I'm from Trenton and I'm a Scorpio. So I was like, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna just do everything myself. So I wanted to come back and learn how to catch the Trotro from the airport to Yame Betchede, learn how to catch the Trotro from Yame Betchede to Kumasi, Kumasi to Cape Coast. Just, I need to be with the people. I need to be on the ground, walking around, and I need to feel and see what's there. So I started planning this trip for the fall of next year, which was 2017. And then, now mind you, and you know, I do this presentation, but I'm only gonna talk about the real spiritual part too, Akom Kese. So mind you, on all of my trips, when I first started going, all of my trips, probably up through 2019, always started and ended in Yame Betchede. It wasn't something that was required, but it just felt right. So I would arrive, go straight to Yame Betchede, do my rituals, do my vow, do, you know, go see the shrine and kind of sit and power up, for lack of a better word, and then move throughout Accra, move throughout the country, and then come back to Yame Betchede, take my bath before I leave, you know, do my work and then leave. So that was my mode for 2016, 2017, and 2018. It costs more physically to do that because sometimes you don't want to travel and do this and do that, but it was just necessary for me to kind of build up this energy. So, I mean, you see the screen, I traveled 4 times in 2017. I met the CEO of Ghana Tourism Authority in the US at a conference that a friend introduced me to him. I had already had this kind of premonition that I had 10 or 15 years ago when I was in a go-go, and I was like, yo, Backyard has to come to Ghana. The Backyard Band has to come to Ghana. Go-go is so African. I was in this go-go and I had this outer body experience where I literally left my body and I'm watching the whole crowd. I'm watching all the fights break out. And I was like, yo, this is like this music has all of us in a trance. Everybody's doing the same thing, moving the same way. We just kind of misguided, we misdirected. But it's the energy coming from this music that I could feel, you know, and then being in a West African and playing djembe and being to Akoms, I could just feel like, yo, this ain't regular club music. This like this like a big Akom. It's like a go-go Akom. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's what it felt like. So I just knew that that had to happen. And I remember talking to G and the band. When I see them, I would just be like, yo, one day we're gonna take God to Africa. And then that happened. So that happened in 2018. We planned for it. You know, we did a Black Panther premiere. I actually forgot about that until a friend reminded me. We did the Back to Africa Festival. I was able to, once I had the relationship with the Ghana Tourism Authority, I was able to convince them to come to the US. So when they came to the US, I was able to kind of show them around. It was also at Yame Betchade where I got the vision for the year of return. I'm not gonna say it's the vision, it was more like instructions, because to be very honest, in the beginning, I wasn't really trying to do it. I was like, yo, I need to make some money. So I'm not really trying to do this right now because these Ghanaians ain't gonna pay. And I need to get some bread. So I had to choose because, like, when I say they literally would not let me do anything else, my wife is probably the only other person who will understand it. But literally, it's like all my other thoughts got blocked. I couldn't write nothing. I couldn't plan nothing. I couldn't do no other events. I had no energy for anything else but to focus on this 400-year thing. So I was in Yame Betchade. We was doing some shrine work, and I was thinking about, you know, what and how can we do this? Like, how can we really make this Back to Africa thing work? And like, why don't we have plane loads of people coming? You know, I'm just kind of in this space. And my older sister, Duewa, she told me about this law, HR 1242, 400 Years of the African American Experience Act, which most people remember or heard about during 2019. And as soon as she told me about that, everything else clicked. And so I'm in Yame Betchade, I'm doing work, I'm consulting on the Yao. And what was interesting is throughout this whole time, after 2016, I hadn't been able to, I didn't come to Ghana. Nana Yao, I wasn't in Ghana the same time as Nana Yao until this year. We kept missing each other in the air, and Nana kept telling me why, yo, you don't want to be in Ghana the same time as me. You keep coming after me. And that wasn't the thought, but I think somewhere in my mind, I was probably like, yeah, Nana, because if I come with you, you're going to have me on some runs. Let me come. But that wasn't intentional. It was just interesting how that happened. So I was constantly consulting with him. So really from the 2017 to 2018, more than anything else, I did a lot of shrine work. And that's when I was just literally praying at the shrine, and I had committed to, I was like, all right, I'm going to commit to making sure that I street define the shrine on Fofier, every Fofier. So for the past 2 to 3 years, every single Fofier, no matter where I am, I make sure that Adadi is fed and that everything that needs to happen happens from Yame Betchade, and that the food is shared throughout the whole community, the prayers. And so for me, that really was the energy that supported a lot of what's happening here, right? And at the same time, I had chosen not to publicly tell people that I'm gonna come from. Not, you know, me and Nana used to battle because Nana used to be like, wear your beads. And I'd be like, Nana, it's not in the beads, it's in my heart. He'd be like, yeah, but you need to wear it. I'd be like, nah, don't match my outfit. Whatever excuse I used to give. But it was like, let me just kind of be the spook who sat by the door a little bit, because Ghana is heavily Christian. 80 to 90%, and it's Christian fanaticals. Like, if people find out that you are a traditionalist, then it's just like, oh, you're a devil worshiper, oh, you will contaminate me. Don't contaminate me. You know, you can see people could be halfway in love on the way to getting married, and they find out somebody's a traditionalist, not a Christian, and they family like you can't marry them. Like the way that Christianity here is really crazy. So I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna tell nobody nothing. I'm gonna just move the way I move. And then they would always ask me, why do I keep going to Yame Betchade? What's there? Like people kind of started getting the feeling. And I would just tell them, we have great Kuntumade, fresh air. The mangoes are great. Like you should come visit. That used to be my thing. But all of this, I'm saying all of that to say that even now when I do interviews and people, I'll be like, you know, it's really hard to take credit for something that you kind of didn't do. You did it, but you didn't do it. So I always say that I learned throughout this that my job, more than anything, was to be a clean, acceptable vehicle. Once I knew that spirits and ancestors had chose me to use me for certain things, then I just had to kind of let a lot go. I had to be really, really patient and just take steps without necessarily knowing what I was doing or what would come next. So in a lot of these trips in 2017 to 2018, I would just make a move and I really wouldn't know what I was there for, if that makes any sense. Like I was coming for a reason of what I thought. And normally it would be revealed to me on my last day. 9 times out of 10, I would always text my wife or call her and be like, babe, I thought I was here for this. And I was really here to meet this person or to have this meeting, which literally happened on my last day headed to the airport. Like it was stuff like that happening. I was just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, why does it keep happening this way where, you know, it would just be so much better. Can I just have the meeting that I need to have on day one? So then I could do something else with my time, but it all served a purpose. So this was pretty much my what we call my international suicides, running back and forth. And again, because this is Akom Kese, everybody here understands being led, being guided by spirits and ancestors, and just surrendering, listening, and just really allowing yourself to be used and just saying, whatever it is I need to do, I'm gonna do. So Nana Yao has sent me on a number of missions where it'd be like, yo, you gotta go do this at this river next to this and next to that. And I'll be like, Nana, that's at midnight. And then I have 80 people in town or something. So, so some of this stuff, like I would literally have a tour group in town, finish with them at 10 p.m., take a car to Yame Betchade at 11 p.m., do shrine work from 1 a.m. to 4 or 5 a.m., and then come back and meet everybody for breakfast in the morning. But things had to be done a certain way on a certain day at a certain time. And I wasn't necessarily willing to try to compromise and risk not doing it for whatever reason. That was just like, well, if it has to be that way, it got to be that way. So all of that to say is, you know, I'm really grateful to yes, obedience pays off. One of the quotes that it took me, God, Nana Yao, how many years did it take me to understand? He kept saying, it's better to obey than sacrifice. And I just ain't know what he was talking about. I'm like, we come from, ain't we supposed to sacrifice? Like, ain't that what we do? And it was not that, but then I realized, yeah, it is better to obey because all of these fines you gotta pay, you keep paying these fines, and then what I think a lot of us in the spiritual systems don't understand is, you know, we self-sabotage ourselves a lot, and because we do a fowl or a sheep and it's accepted, we think that the work was accepted and that the work that we're trying to do in our prayers are getting carried over to turn over. But that doesn't mean that all the time. Just because the fowl is accepted and the sheep is accepted, it doesn't mean that the activation is complete, if that makes any sense. They'll accept the sheep and the fowl, but
they might not activate. I'm just telling y'all what I've learned from my teacher through my actions. You know, I'm not saying that this is the right thing or it's the way it's supposed to be, but this is what I've seen that works. So as I started to learn that, I'm like, oh, okay. Because I had to go back to the shrine several times and I'm like, why this stuff is not working? And it's like, well, you think just because you did this number of sheep, it's supposed to work. But these sheep you're doing are random that you're doing to pay a fine, to pay a pittance. It's because you did something wrong. So when you cancel out the wrong, you just back at zero. You're not +1. You just got back to zero. So, you know, I'll be learning. I'll be trying to learn, and just kind of really pay attention. But being here has been really good for me in that, and just wanting to learn, because I'm not the guy. I don't have no trainees. I know Nana be like, you need to get some trainees, and that's just not me. Like right now, that's not where I'm at. And from the time that I graduated, I decided that I wanted to learn more about how to use the shrines to help me and my family, and how to actually manifest and materialize my prayers into things that I could show and do in real life, and not just do other things. That's just my thing. You know, and over time, I feel like, you know, in due time, I feel like it'll pay off at some point in life. I don't really care if it does or not, because I'm really enjoying life. Like, I'm really having fun. Okay, so I took a little bit longer because I feel like this is family, and I wanted to underscore, you know, obedience. And I know sometimes people see me on social media, Facebook, this, that, and the third. Like, I really just wanted to underscore to this community that the efforts and the work that all of you all have done in terms of being consistent, in terms of your perseverance through the 60s and 70s in choosing, you know, African culture, African tradition, and whatever sacrifices that all of you have had to make, whatever criticisms that you've taken from your families when you told them you ain't going to church no more, you stopped eating pork, and you grew your natural hair and took the perm out, and all of the stuff that y'all might have had to go through, that my mom had to go through in the 60s, and just the choices that we've made, you know, I just say thank you, Madasi, because I think without that, and without knowing that there's this wide and broad community that I'm a part of, I don't know that I would have been able to move with the confidence that I do. But I need everybody to understand that when I move through this world, I move like all of y'all are with me. Like, and I think that's what helps me, is I move like I'm one of a lot. Like, don't make me call my people, kind of thing. But I move that way. Like, I know I'm not the only one. So, all right, let's get into it. Enough with all of that. What, Coach, keep me on time. I'm gonna run through the chapter so we can have a conversation about. So one of the things that it did is it led me to meeting the president and a few times, and this time it was in his office. And in this moment, I was explaining to him that in the absence of a Black nation state and a Black president, somebody who represents Black people, that my commitment was as much as possible to bring leaders of large Black organizations and try to create high strategic partnerships for Ghana with NAACP, like figuring out how countries like Ghana could use Radio One, Urban One, Kathy Hughes, and the fact that they're one of the only entities that have access to like 90% of all Black people in the United States. National Forums of Black Public Administrators, all of the Divine Nine, like there's so many different Black organizations that have different ideologies, but collectively kind of represent all of us. And in the absence of having a real Black president that has the interests of Black people, the only thing that we're really going to be able to do is to figure out how to introduce Black leaders who run these organizations to presidents and to Africa, and create high-level strategic partnerships that make it easier for for all of us to come through. So I like to show that because it just be like, I met a president and you know, now interesting enough, what I will say about this meeting, they was like, you get X number of people to the meeting. Who you gonna take to the meeting? I took my mama, I took my son, I took my daughter. I still mess with Kwaku because I'm like, dude, you wore Chucks to meet the president. You a real OG. You a young guy, but you ain't even put on no hard bottoms. You had on Chucks, man. Me and him go back and forth joke. And my wife was in Ghana, but she couldn't come because we had a group of 80 people there and my brother, Mahiri. But everybody that was on my list was my family. I have another picture that I was able to, when we did the Year of Return launch in DC, I was able to introduce Nana Yao and Nana Inyo to the president, which was, you know, another big thing for me, you know, and I told him right then, I was like, if I do anything for Ghana, this is the man you need to thank, because without him, I wouldn't come to Ghana. So that was also a big moment for me. And when I was able to introduce Nana Yao and my mother to the president, so he cool. I don't feel that I'm a visitor in Ghana or any part of Africa. I feel that I'm home. I've been away for 400 years, but not of my own volition, not of my own will. My book is dedicated to Malcolm X because he's our Black shining prince. And I just feel like he represents all of who we are as a people. He represents the bottom of the barrel and the top of the top. And I feel like so many of our young brothers and sisters who are in prison and caught up in crack, this and all of this other stuff, some of those are the most genius minds, right? And we just really got to figure out how to convert them. But some of those are the most genius minds. The other reason why I chose this quote is because what I found is a big part of repatriating is the feeling of home, right? So some of us, we not at home with ourselves yet. We're not at home when we look in the mirror, right? So it's like in successful repatriation, I feel like you got to be at home with yourself first. And then once you at home with yourself and you're really comfortable with who you are, then the repatriating part is easy. But so much of what I see so many people go through here is a lot of self-discovery and self-work that they probably should have done before they came. Because doing that kind of self-work is difficult, is more difficult in the place that doesn't have everything functioning like you need to. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to work on yourself, but you ain't got no power, you ain't got no water, traffic lights ain't working. You know, and that kind of stuff, it all gets really compounded. But I feel like when you've gotten to the point where you know that home is where the love is, and home is in your heart, and like home is wherever you make it, then repatriation becomes a lot easier and smoother. Your patience, everything works better because no matter where you go, you're home, right? So that's the way that we can start off. Okay, defining your personal why. Early in the book, I talk about this, and I just talk about people needing to define why. Like, I have some things that I have not sacrificed and I don't plan to, right? I'm from DC, we like to wear fresh kicks. So I still keep a fresh pair of kicks. When somebody coming into town, I gotta get them shipped or something. But I need a fresh pair of Air Max. I need a fresh pair of New Balance Gray 998, 2000s. Like, that's just something that I haven't been willing to give up. And your why has to be bigger than not having access to things like that. Some people got to eat Chick-fil-A a certain while, they know they're going to catch an attitude. They get that, you know, they start fiending. Ain't no Chick-fil-A here. And you might have like, it might be a chick fillet. You know how in Ghana they'll change the name or something. It might be a chick belay or something, but they don't be no Chick-fil-A. So you have to, you got to really zone into your personal why, because it just has to be bigger, and you got to be tuned into it because you miss your family. Like, I miss my family now. You know, I talk to them every day. You miss the things that you used to, your friends. You miss a lot of what has always been for you. So, and then you run into so many roadblocks here and you run into so many things that don't work, or sometimes just backwards. Just like sometimes you just wondering like, yo, why? Like, why would you do something like that? Like some of the things that happen here, you just be like, yo, did you think that through? Or like you just decided that you're going to drive and you're not going to stop at any intersection. You're not going to pause. You're not going to yield to the traffic in the circle. You're just going to drive and allow everybody else to choose if they want to get in the accident with you. That's how you live it. Okay. Like, I mean, but not only that, like the power outage. I just had a power outage right before this. Your water may stop working. Just regular customer service. Customer service is humongous. Having people answer the phone, being able to kind of sort things out. Like all of those basic living things can be difficult here. And I've seen more people pack up and leave than I have seen stay. Now I'm seeing more people staying now, but just in my short amount of time, I haven't seen a whole bunch of really success stories. And I don't mean the YouTubers who have this person who started a business or that person who started a business, but I mean regular real life people who just moved here, stayed, and is able to kind of do it. So I say write it down and discuss with your close family and friends. Um, um, in the book, I leave a couple of blank pages for people to begin to craft out their why, and I add some guided questions that you can like ask yourself. Be as honest with yourself as you can. Again, I was saying it will serve as your anchor. Be really realistic about it because when you're saying like, I don't really consider myself that I've repatriated because like I'm going to go back. And I also talk about the fact that I'm not trying to divorce America. Like I get how much sweat equity we as Black people have in America as a corporation. My family both sides of my family go back to the 1700s. So for me, I'm not saying that. I'm not one of those people that's like, I'm never going back to America KKK again or something like that. That's not me. I'm like, look, we ain't got no go-go's in Africa, number one. So I gotta go back to see backyard, but at least twice a year, or at least once. But I like it better over here. I'm way more freer. I'm way more in touch with myself. And like I like to say that when I'm back home in the States, it's like I do my best to stay out of the way, right? I'm going from the studio to the crib, that's it, to the house. I'm not out doing a whole bunch of different things. But I think here, you can go out of your way to find your way, right? Without running into just some basic stuff. And then the whole thing with the police, like, I'm just not built for that. I can't handle that. I can't. I mean, when we grew up, we had to deal with the police a lot. And that's not a part of my makeup. Like, I don't really do too well with dealing with those guys. And I don't want to, I don't want to do something that that would take me away from my family or that would have me respond in a way, but I can't deal with police powers. And I'm just really learning to like all human beings, including Black people. So I definitely don't like white people. So for me personally, I know myself. So I know that I'm better off here. Like this, even though it's not easy and there are challenges, I'm way more comfortable here. You can also do a lot more with less. You can do a lot more with less. And so defining your personal why, I'm saying that even those of us in the culture, in the tradition, even those of us who may have traveled back and forth, even those of us who may have traveled back and forth to Ghana a lot for shrine work and stuff like that, I think when you move for repatriation, it's a little bit different. So it's still something that you want to really like tune into. Healthcare is important because that's something that when you move into a new place and you're going to live, you want to make sure that you can do that. Healthcare is relatively new in Ghana. So Ghana's whole healthcare system is new. My thing is practice preventative measures and stay well. as much as possible. Your last resort is going to the hospital. You don't want to have to go to the hospital. However, when you do go, just know that it's going to be long lines. It's going to be a lot of people, and the conditions are not going to be as well as you want. Like I caught malaria in Ghana, and luckily, I went to the hospital. I'm in the hospital, and they took me to this room that I was in with like 5 other people, and I was sweating so much. Like as soon as I laid on the bed, I just looked around and I started saying my goodbyes. I was like, I'm gonna die in here. This ain't no way I'm surviving this. Like I'm just looking at the other people. I'm like, I don't know what they got. I don't know who got what. It just don't look sanitary. I just felt like this can't be it for me. But then they like, oh, we have another unit, another ward. I'm like, y'all got another ward? I was like, yo, talk to them. Tell them to take things like, oh, it's a room you'll have by yourself. You have a private bathroom. I was like, what? And I'm looking at the guys from Repatriation who with me, and I'm like, yo, why am I here then? Why am I here if they have this other room? And then I realized that they were like, it costs 50 CDs. I was like, tell them to book it for 2 weeks. Get me out of here. But you have to realize that when people make decisions based on their capacity and their budget, not yours. So they're making a decision based on if it was them, not if it was me. Because they like, if it's me, I'm gonna stay here. I'm like, I could pay 50 CDs a night. Like, yo, exit me out of here. But I would have never known that that room was there, right? That they had that kind of room unless I'm like, but the doctor also looked at me, seeing me sweating, and he offered it because he like, well, like this guy ain't gonna make it here. Go back, Coach. Go back to healthcare. Back. Okay, there are a list of hospitals and clinics that I'm going to say you should consider your proximity when you're moving. But when it comes to emergency care, I think the #1 mindset for most people who move here is to save yourself because no one is coming to save you. The ambulances are not here. You're not gonna, like in the book, I literally suggest, especially if you have a pre-existing condition or if you have elderly people or young children, that you draw up a medical emergency plan, which includes having a car, a driver, or somebody in your neighborhood, a local taxi that you have on call. If an emergency happens, your best bet is to you can contact the local hospital or have a doctor on call who's telling you what to do while you are on your way to the hospital. But don't wait if you wait for somebody, probably half of the people who die in Ghana die on the way or die because they could not get to a hospital to get to care. So I'm telling you, don't wait, save yourself. You gotta have a car, a taxi, something. You gotta be able to put somebody in the car and get to the hospital. And then when you repatriate and move, you think about all of the stuff that you need to bring. Y'all know what this is? This is Benadryl. This is like my dope. I keep Benadryl because I'm allergic to nuts. I'm allergic to nuts and coconuts. So everywhere I go, I got Benadryl on me because you can ask somebody 1,000,000 times if it has nuts, and they will say no, 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 no. And then you got to remind them that there are nuts that don't have the word nut in it. Like pecan is a nut. You realize that, right, bro? Like, so I got to keep this with me. So stuff like this that you might think is big bottles of Advil, this, that, whatever you use, and then natural stuff. I got my Smooth Move tea. I got my black seed. We got our olive leaf capsules. We got our and Golden Hill, so you want to bring this stuff with you to have a stockpile of it. And then you constantly want to look at family and friends who's coming to bring stuff for you. There is health insurance in Ghana through the national health insurance. You can use it. It is not expensive at all, but it's only going to give you access to a certain number of things. There are also private clinics. There's this new service called Ginger. There are a lot of diasporans, Ghanaians who are doctors who are coming back to Ghana and setting up businesses. I have a meeting with this guy this week because you can go search your Google Play or your App Store and download Ginger. It's an app that connects you with doctors in care in Ghana, right? So if you're going through something, you can call them. They put a doctor on the screen. If you have an emergency, they have a number where you can call. You tell them where you are. They tell you the nearest hospital or clinic to you for the problem that you're having. And then they call the hospital ahead of time and get in touch with them and let them know you're coming in, that kind of thing. And then again, create a personal medical emergency plan and then run drills. Like, you know, I went to HVE. I went to Heritage Village in Camden down in Virginia for half my life. So sometimes we think it's not that important or it might be overdoing it, but you're gonna feel that way until you get into a situation. So if my children were young or my parents come and they're elderly, once a quarter, we running drills. You know, the alarm goes off. What do we do in case of an emergency? Okay, we got to call, you know, and you got to do it in a way like it's real life. If you're really talking about repatriating, being here and like really being able to take care of your family and ensure that you've done all that you can do to save a life if you need to. Okay, let's go to the next one. Privilege, expectations, and relationships. This is one of my favorite chapters because it's not like a chapter of facts or data. This is that internal work that I was talking about. So one, I suggest that everybody, number one, acknowledge that there is some kind of Western privilege that you have, wherever it came from. I'm clear that the privilege that I have came from both of my families, working very hard, making education a priority, pushing us to get educated. I'm clear that some of the privilege that I have comes from, you know, going to undergrad, going to grad school, working, choosing, making certain choices. And it's put me in a position that a lot of people would look at it and say, well, you have a certain amount of privilege just being from America, right? And I'm not about canceling privilege. I'm more or less about leveraging privilege. And what I'm saying is leverage your privilege. So for example, in Yame Betchade, I leveraged my privilege. Over the course of the pandemic, we were able to feed the whole village. We were able to feed the village multiple times because of my education, because of the fact that I am a foreigner, and I know that Ghanaians may listen to me more. We recently were able to create a partnership where all of the farmers in the village who wanted a job got a job. Now we have 100 people employed, getting a monthly salary with bank accounts in the village. A part of that came from leveraging privilege, leveraging the fact that I know when I walk in and they hear the American accent or whatever, they look down, you know, because they could just look at you, see the way you're wearing your hat, see your bop, you know, see your tennis shoes, be like, he ain't got nothing. Like, yeah, we know he from, and they'll listen to you. So use that. And I think that's really important for those of us in the cultural community, because we swear we African till we get to Africa, and then we gotta be African. Like, we as African as we want to be, but there's so many of us in the cultural community that cannot deal with Africa or African people in all of its idiosyncrasies and all of this and all of that. We be having a hard time. We start sounding like Karens out there, but we don't want to really deal with that. We don't really want to deal with the fact that it's a reality, and that's because we haven't acknowledged our privilege. We haven't acknowledged that, and it's okay. Those things are important. For example, decide your comfort zone and stretch it slowly. Compromise is necessary. I know that I could spend way more time in the village than my wife. Right? That doesn't make me better than her, but I know her. I know she likes to eat really good food. She likes nice wine. I know the type of champagne she likes. I know like she has certain things in her life that she decided that's important for her that she doesn't want to compromise on. So I can't try to make her drink one CD Apeche because I'm in Ghana and it's okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, but then she also comes to all of the rituals with me when she's there in our combs and all of that. But it's just like outside of that, yo, babe, I need some sushi, some roof, we need to pop a bottle, and that's okay. And then how do you use that and be okay with that with other people without feeling bad? Because in my first couple of trips, I would feel bad, like, you know, you might feel bad when you see how little 20 CDs mean to you and how much 20 CDs mean to somebody else. So you got to go through those conversations with yourself and get over it, right? And accept the fact that your privilege didn't come like white people's privilege, and your privilege came from sacrifice, and your privilege is actually the outcome of the resilience of our people making it through the transatlantic slave trade. So it's like, yo, we paid for privilege with our lives and our identity and so much other things. So let's use this to leverage this and help people. So for me, you know, my commitment to Yama Vechide is forever. So, so it's, you know, I'm constantly figuring out how to use who I am and what I'm able to do to help so many people around me. I say release all expectations of Ghana, Africa, and what you think it should be. I remember when I first came and I thought that I was gonna find this African-American community that was gonna welcome me with arms and this, that, and the third. Don't think that all Black people gonna get along just because y'all all moved to Africa. That ain't gonna happen. And then something else that I've recently been going through is release all expectations of what and how you think your family or those in the US should support or feel about your move. So you want to deal with what you think those expectations are. If you're repatriated, and if you have in your mind that everybody should support you, or everybody should be really happy for you, or everybody should want to do this thing with you, then you got to release that. You know, you got to release that and not really expect that. It's a pleasant surprise when it happens, but I would say don't make it a part of your expectation. Some relationships are really big in Ghana. You know, relationship is probably the biggest currency in Ghana. And I would say don't put the transaction before the relationship, whatever it is, because you have really wealthy people in Ghana and really connected people. And as you're doing business or whatever it is that you're trying to do, like if you're coming here because you want to build generational wealth, so you're trying to invest or do things that are long-term, and that's going to help you create and generate millions or billions of dollars that you want to leave as a legacy for your family and be able to allow you to help to do all of this stuff. There's going to be so many different people that you can meet. And I would say, don't put the transaction before the relationship. Like, you know, keep your integrity intact and be like, yeah, you're a billionaire, but you're a Bama, and I don't rock with Bama. So I'm okay. I don't need to meet you. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep it 100 with yourself, and build real relationships so that people will see you, and then people start offering you things. They start opening doors for you. You stay on their mind. You start getting calls from people like, yo, such and such said I should call you because of this, not because you necessarily did anything for them, but because you've created a relationship with these people. They see you as genuine, and now, you know, you've been able to expand your opportunities exponentially because without even knowing it, you got 10, 15, 20, 30 people looking out for you because they want to help you because you're a friend. You know what I'm saying? Friendship is essential to the soul. So people, you know, and that's, for me, that's real. So this was one of my favorite chapters just because I think this is the part that we need the most work in. And this is the part that makes a bigger difference. We can figure out how to build a house and all of this other tangible stuff, but it's the intangibles that really make it work. Next. Okay, money and finance. You know, one of my quotes is, let's say money ain't everything, but it's up there with breathing. So you can't, you know, when they start accepting cowrie shells, somebody tell me where I could get some cowrie shells. But until they start accepting cowrie shells, we need cash. It's just, you know, and cash is king in Ghana. There is no credit. Credit is super expensive here. On an average, credit is going to cost you 20 to 30%. So most of the things that people have here, they own it. The house, they own it. The car, they own it. They paid cash for it. Or if they didn't, they paid like an 80 to 90% down payment, but they're still paying 20 to 30% on whatever that 10% they have left of whatever it is. There aren't really that many traditional mortgages. So you can't just pay that 1% down payment on a house and then pay your monthly mortgage. You got to have your house cash up front. Like everything is really cash. And sometimes even like with shrine work and other stuff like that, you know, we think that it's supposed to be cheap, or we just don't have the amount of respect that we need to from my experience and from seeing, like, for festivals and all of the shrine work and everything that happens in Ghana. No matter what you think it is, it always costs more than whatever you think it's going to be. And that's damn near with everything. So cash is king. Mobile money is king. Mobile money is Ghana's Cash App or PayPal. So you can use mobile money. If anybody's sending money to Ghana, you're probably using World Remit, or you're probably using SendWave. And if you're using SendWave or World Remit, it sends money directly to a mobile money wallet. And once you have a mobile money wallet, what you're able to do is you're able to make cash deposits with a mobile money vendor. So you take 5,000 CDs, take it to a mobile money vendor, they put that 5,000 CDs in your mobile money account. So now you're walking around with 5,000 CDs, but it's not in cash, it's in your phone. And you can pay for everything in Ghana with mobile money. So if you're somebody who don't like cash, mobile money works very, very well. Budget well, write it down, stick to it. One of the things that you'll find over multiple years, especially if you're building, is that your budget is going to change because the value of the CD changes. It fluctuates so much. So you want to think and act in CDs, not dollars. What does that mean? If something costs $20, if something costs $5, you might be like, it's only $5, right? So it's only $5. That's not a big deal. But $5 is also, can be anywhere between 25 and 30 CDs. So while it's only $5, it's also 20 CDs. And if I know that a small family might be able to eat for 3 days on 20 CDs, or 4 days or a week on 20 CDs, then it's a lot of money, right? So you got to treat it. So you got to think in CDs like this is a lot of money, not like it's not a lot of money. Everything is negotiable. It's not difficult to open up a bank account. You do have to have your residency permit. One of the things that I do when I go to different countries is I figure out how to get residency and then I open a bank account. Most of the accounts do not require a lot of money, but what that allows you to do at least is now you can get money in and out. And that's what you want to be able to do, is to get money in and out for whatever you're going to do. I don't care if you start the account with 20 CDs and $50. That's not a lot of money, but you now have the account to use. So if you need to use it, somebody wiring you money, you just doing banking transactions. Banking in Ghana is actually really dope because you get a personal relationship manager when you open up your account, right? Here in America, we got to go to the bank. You got to go to the bank and make the transaction or go to the drive-through. I can call my banker and have him do banking transactions for me. Or I can send him a message on WhatsApp, be like, bro, I need to come get some bread out the bank. I know y'all close at 5. I'm not going to get there to 5:30, 5:45. He's like, I'll wait for you. Okay, thanks. He wait for me. I treat him to a club or something afterwards. We go have a brew, no problem. But he's also the one who can clear your wire. So if anybody is import, export, doing business, or when you move, because when you move and you begin moving your money, you know, your savings or whatever, when you have a great relationship with your banking relationship manager, he clears the wire. Any money that you wire to Ghana goes to the Bank of Ghana first, the Central Bank of Ghana. The Central Bank of Ghana receives that, and then they distribute it to your particular bank. And then your bank distributes that to the account. So, you know, I make sure that my banking relationship manager, I make sure that he has a relationship with somebody at the Central Bank of Ghana. Because I'm like, bro, the wire got to clear. Like, and it can't take 2 weeks to clear. It needs to clear in 24 to 48 hours. So these are things that you can do to, as you begin to relate. Now, here's a hack that you can use for anybody who's thinking about repatriating, or if you just get residency when you come. So if you get residency, once you get residency, you're able to get a registered mobile money account. A registered mobile money account means that you have a SIM card in a phone account that your mobile money is connected to. Everybody got that? So your mobile money is connected to your phone number. You have to register that with a passport, residency permit, and all of that to stop fraud. Once it's registered, you can send mobile money to yourself through SendWave or World Remit. So because I have a mobile money account, there are times where you're going to run out of cash. You're not going to have dollar bills, right? Unless you're balling like Kese, and you just bring like 10 bands every time you come, and you just got a drawer full of $100 bills that you pull out when you need to exchange. But if you're somebody like me, you're going to run out of cash, and you're going to need to get money to yourself. So I'm able to send myself mobile money directly to me. Other ways, before I had mobile money, I could send it to Kese or somebody in Yami Betchade. I could send them mobile money to pull cash out of their account and give it to me. But now I can just send myself mobile money, right? And because it goes directly from your US bank account, right? Your SendWave or World Remit account is attached to your debit card in your US bank account. It pulls it from there, sends it directly to your mobile money wallet here. I've never used an ATM. I don't suggest using ATMs here. You're going to pay fees at home. You're just going to pay fees out the yin yang, and your exchange rate is not going to be any good if you use your US debit card in an ATM. So it's not difficult to move money around in Ghana and to exchange money. Like, you want to have a Forex that you go to. You want to have 1 or 2 good money guys that can change money. Because I've done tours and I've had a lot of people, I have money guys in different areas. So if I'm in Cape Coast, I got a money guy, Kumasi, somebody who can change money, one of the Alajis. So managing money is not really difficult in Ghana, but one of the biggest things that you will learn is you have to budget well. You have to write it down and you have to stick to it. It's very easy to I don't think my brother Osei is on the call, but when I just told him, I was like, bro, like, I told Inez and my wife, yo, me and Osei are not allowed to have money in our pocket when we go out. Y'all got to take our money. Because it's small considering, right? But it adds up. So, the point of being here is to figure out how to live less, how to do more with less, not live at the same level sometimes. So it's just something that is, again, it's very easy, but respect that things cost, like everybody is like, and one of the things that we don't do, let me say this is, we got to figure out how to support each other better. So it's like, somebody comes to Ghana and it's like, okay, I need to get from here to here. Somebody might call me up and like, I can have somebody pick you up, it's gonna cost this. You might be like, well, I know Kojo, a friend of a friend of a friend, who's gonna do it for me for 100 CDs. I'm like, I can't afford to give you that ride for 100 CDs. Now, Kojo may be able to, but I don't know if his AC work. It's just gonna be those things that that you kind of got to figure out, especially when you come. and learn and like, you know what, it's okay for me to support and do business with other African Americans who are in Ghana. Like, I don't always have to have my own plug for everything. You know what I'm saying? You can, there's nothing wrong with it, but you don't always have to have your own guy. I don't have my own. There are some things that I've just decided I'm not going to get my own guy for. Okay, my man, he has a guy, so I'm gonna always go through my man and just make it that simple. I'm gonna always go to the sister friend that I know. She has a guy who does that. I don't need to have a guy that does everything. All right, let's keep moving. There is no direct pathway to citizenship in Ghana. The year of return had a lot of people confused. Many people don't really like the right of abode because it's kind of an empty legislation. It doesn't say or mean or do anything. So right now, if you're an African American or anybody else, the only way you're gonna get citizenship in Ghana legally is to do what everybody else has done. You come, you maintain residency for a year, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And then once you have a history of maintaining residency for a certain number of years, you apply through the Department of Interior and through immigration for citizenship. Residency permits is kind of really what you want to do, because once you get it once, it allows you to open up your bank account, get your mobile money, get your drive. You don't even need your driver's license for residency permit, but it allows, well, no, you do. It allows you it opens up all of those doors for you to do the things that you want to do, is when you have residency. You don't need residency permit to buy land though. So it doesn't require you to have residency permit to buy land. But when you do have a residency permit, it makes everything easier. And like everything else in Ghana, there is a long way and a short way. I'll let you kind of figure that part out. But if you appreciate the long way and you just want to do it for the experience, more power to you. But there's a long way to short way. And just as a disclaimer, because you just never know, that Diallo Sumbre does not encourage any illegal activity in Ghana. Diallo Sumbre does not encourage anybody to do anything illegal or against the law when it comes to residency or anything else in Ghana. We encourage everybody to follow the letter of the law and do everything as it's intended to be done. You can find a reputable immigration worker or a business in Ghana to help you do anything regarding residency or any other kind of permits. The only kind of other permits that you would need is if you're into mining, if you're into finance, investments, and things like that, import, export, certain things like that. You'll need some very specific permits. But if you're just coming to live, and you want to do some farming or some other stuff, you don't need any permits to do that. This part of it for me is not really a big deal. I will say that Ghana is looking at creating a direct pathway to citizenship. There's something called the Homeland Return Act that we are expecting to hit the floor of Parliament this year. I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, but I will, just to kind of review it. And in this, it's Ghana's way of putting something on the floor that the African diaspora feel like has teeth, and makes it a little bit easier at the end of the day for people who want to come here and invest, right? Because I didn't talk about this earlier, but we also have to sit with and accept the fact that whether you like it or not, whether you think it's right or not, we are the grassroots stimulus package. So when you come to Ghana, don't get frustrated. Somebody got to make some money off you. It's a part of the ecosystem, right? So you just can't be tripping off, oh, he charged me 10 CDs too much, or like sometimes you just got to let some of it go and charge it to the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. It's going to be hard for it not, which is a difference from somebody just being a straight crook. But other than that, like you got the ecosystem is give and take, and sometimes you got to give to it when you come. That's just what it is, because, and then most of us, we really do have it. When I say we have it, I mean, Maybe he sells it to a Ghanaian for 2 CDs, but he wants to sell it to you for 5 CDs. You could pay that extra 3 CDs. It's not going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to hurt you. Land are the most litigious cases in Ghana's court. Land is the most litigious cases in Ghana's court. So when you look at land, we all need to understand that there are several kinds of land: freehold land, stewed land, private land, family land, government land. So when so many people come, I'm buying land, I'm buying land, I'm buying land, and then the requirements for each could be a little bit different, you know? So most of that looks like somebody has some land. They has to do a survey. That survey is attached to the indenture. That survey lists all of the GPS points of that land, saying that this land within these GPS parameters belongs to this person. Once you get the indenture, you can have 1 million people sign the indenture, but the indenture is like your lease. That doesn't mean anything. Anybody can create that. You need to take that indenture and that survey to the Lands Commission. The Lands Commission needs to certify that that piece of plot of land is not encumbered and listed in the Lands Commission to anyone else, right? So one of the big things with family land is you can have somebody sign it off and sell you a piece of land that's in their family, and then later on you realize that they're not the authority in that family who has permission to sell that land. So you got to really take your time. And then even after you go to the Lands Commission and they certify it, you really need to take the Lands Commission document, your indenture, your deed, and everything else to the court. And then you have the court and the judge at the court stamp it to say that it's official. And then after that, you can go through the forever process of trying to register the land so that now your name is on the deed in the Lands Commission. So it's not something that's super simple to do. It's something that you got to take your time to do, but it could be worth it, especially if you're trying to do something big. The other important thing that I would say, I had a point that I just popped in my mind. I forgot. Take your time. You can find a knowledgeable lawyer or agent, but it should be somebody who works in land. Like, you know, a trademark lawyer is not going to be the best lawyer to help you with land. So you got to find somebody. When you get the land, you should build or erect something as soon as possible to prevent squatters, especially if it's in a remote place that you're not going to visit to every day. It's not in an urban city or something like that, but it's just somewhere out there and there's a plot of land in the middle of a whole bunch of other land that you bought and that's yours. Or you got to constantly have somebody going to check on it to make sure nobody's built anything on it. Because it's just crazy to me that you can buy land, but if I build something on it and I start living there, you come back a year later, now you got to prove that I don't belong there. And you can't move me until you can prove that, right? It's a great business for investment. Renting can be tricky. Ask a million questions and put everything in writing. The main thing I would say about renting is they just published another article reiterating that landlords are only allowed to take your rent for up to 6 months in advance. But for most people, it's a year. Like people aren't necessarily going 2 years anymore. Like they've kind of gotten over that in some places. But like if you go into one of these landlords who got a spot that you're renting for like maybe 500 Ghana cedis a month, most of those people, most Ghanaians who are looking for places to rent, they got to pay 2 years up front. So that 6,000 cedis, they got to come up with 12,000 cedis to get their spot for a year, or 400 cedis a month or whatever. Like some of those places are like up in the cut, and it might be this building with 8 rooms in it, and maybe it's a community bathroom or something like that. But for the most part, the law says that you have to pay. No landlord can charge you up to more than 6 months at a time. So if you're renting, you pay for your apartment 6 months. You got to have that cash in the next 6 months, or you pay for it for the full year. That's just kind of how it works. The most that you might be able to do, the best that I've been able to do is quarterly. So I've been able to find places that allow me to pay quarterly. And then, you know, But that's still somewhat of a difference when, we're used to being able to pay every month. So that's if you're renting. One of the most valuable, one of the biggest things about renting is your landlord. You want to make sure you have a great landlord. That's probably everywhere in the world. But in Ghana, your landlord will make the difference because something's going to go wrong regardless. I have a guy who's in town right now, jazz artist. I found a spot for him, brand spanking new apartment, brand new. Brand new apartment is nice. When you walk in, you're like, oh my God, it's crazy. Da, 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 da. Good price. His water been off for 3 days. We fighting with them. And when they collect that money up front, like refunds in Ghana, don't even put them in the same sentence. Refund. If you get a refund, you good. Like, but once you gotta understand, once you pay that money, it's already spent. That money is already spent. So it's going to something else. Excuse me. Okay, Coach, let's keep moving. How much time we got? We got 2 hours, so we still have 30 minutes of questions. All right. Oh, business and investment. I ain't gonna talk a whole lot about this. I say business in Ghana is like managing traffic in Ghana. You're driving, you got trotros who just don't care about nothing, but picking up that next 2 CD ride. You got Okadas, the motorbikes, they swerving in every lane in front, accidents, this, that, and the third. You got taxis that, you know what I'm saying? And here you are just trying to get to your destination, right? Now, one of the reasons why you keep trying to get to your destination because you're seeing Range Rovers pass you by, you're seeing Porsches pass you by, you're seeing Lamborghinis pass you by. So even though the road is messed up, you know that clearly there's a way to get to something based on the other cars that are on the road. So that's the way I look at business in Ghana. I say you got to have a V8 mentality. You want to sit high up enough to see everything and have a good trajectory. You want to be able to switch to 4-wheel drive in case you got to go off terrain and your business doesn't work the way that you expected it to work. And then you got to find people that you can trust. Employees, you got to train people. You got to really find people that you can trust. Hold on, y'all, really quickly, please. This is my wife, and if she called me, it might be important.
While he's doing that, I'm going through the different comments in the chat, and it's God is crazy.
So yeah, so like, in this, what level of business are you trying to do? Like, you should really be clear. I'm not one of those people that believe that the only way you're going to have a successful business is with a thorough business plan, especially here, but you definitely need to be flexible, and you definitely need to, be focused. And this is where remembering your why comes into play, that first chapter. So if you're here to do business or you're here to do certain things, you got to really stay focused on the goal because it's not easy. And because it's all cash, it could really be draining because something is always going to go wrong, and you always got to figure something out and fix something and spend some extra money that you didn't expect to do it. Take your time. I say play the long game and don't chase quick money. I encourage people to build businesses, to do business to build in Africa, not take your money back to America, because most people will tell you how to get money in Ghana, but they won't be able to tell you how to take it out. And then the number of fees you're gonna have to pay and dealing with taxes and this, that, and the third. I'm saying if you come in to invest money here, like one of the good ways to really repatriate and come here with a nice little nest is to invest in the business or to do something along your plan before you come. So if you can figure out a way to have some money being made in Ghana before you move, then when you get here, you kind of already have begun to build up and have some bread there. And then again, I mentioned this, don't be afraid to do business with other diasporans. Sometimes you come and it's just like, we don't trust each other. You know what I'm saying? To be like, let me find my own Ghanaian to do business with, right? That's kind of how, let me find my own local person, as opposed to, well, this person has been here doing this and this, let me see what they got going. And if it don't work for you, then it don't work for you. I'm just saying, don't be afraid to do it. Next. Okay, I think this is the last chapter. This is fairly simple. Find your reputable shipping agent if you're shipping a container. I have shipped one 40-foot container. I have another 20-foot container on the way. You just learn that, you know, it's going to be once you get it's easy to fill the container and get it on the boat. That's easy, because all that's happening in America. Now, when it arrives, the one thing you don't want to do is think that you're going to clear your container at the port. Like, get over yourself, okay? I'm just telling you right now, get over yourself, hire an agent who speaks Tree and who knows everybody at the port so you can get in and out. When I shipped my container, I was on this dude so much, I know that he was like, please let us clear this Negro's container in one day because I don't want him calling me again. So they were able to clear it in one day. And then you just need to really be in communication with them. One of the things I talk about is writing your manifest. So make sure you have a very clear manifest. Make sure you know everything that's in your container. And you have an idea if it's new, if it's old, or whatever. Here's one thing. If you're moving, you want to ship your container, and then you want to fly to Ghana and arrive before your container arrives. When you arrive, you have 48 hours to get a form called a PUBD from the airport. You're going to need this form to clear that container. If you don't get it in 48 hours, you're going to go through what I went through, which is not pretty, which is going to about 8 different offices to get 12 different signatures on this form, as opposed to stopping at customs when you get off the plane and they give it to you right there for free. But because my shipper didn't tell me, I had to go through this thing. And the good thing about it is I went through it, so I learned. Now I can share it with other people, like, don't do this. So the second time I went, the second container that I shipped, or that's being shipped, I knew that when I came back this time, let me get my PUDB form, like, off the break. And it'll ask you to declare the value of your goods. Like, you never put more than $1,500 or $2,000 on that form. And then you'll go through the process with your agent of what do you have. If you're shipping a car, you're going to pay for duty, right? You're going to pay, the duty is going to cost you. Luxury cars are always going to be more expensive, and luxury is defined by the engine size. And I forget the exact engine size, but I think I have a QR code to that in the book. And then my suggestion is, again, I said, you want to fly in before your container arrives. If you're renting an apartment, you want to have access to that apartment on your arrival. So you want to make sure you can get into the apartment, you can do all the painting, you can get your electricity turned on, your water turned on. You want to go for walks in your neighborhood. You want to go find out where you're going to get your nails done, where you're going to get your manicures and pedicures, which cleaners you're going to use, you know, who going to do your laundry if you're not doing it yourself, which grocery stores you're going to use, where's the hardware store. You want to find out what's in your neighborhood. Where can you get some smoothies? Where can you get a lounge? So you want to spend the time walking in your neighborhood at different times of the day, right? So you can get a feeling for where it is, because you probably would not have spent that kind of time in your neighborhood. You might have found a nice place, a neighbor, this, but you ain't spent a few weeks. So that by the time your container arrives and they clear it, they're going to automatically hire guys to take everything from the warehouse, from your container, and bring it to your house. What you need to be clear about is that's different than movers. They're just offloading everything that you had in your container and dropping it in your front yard. So you want to be clear to negotiate ahead of time what it would cost for those guys to actually move the things into your house, into rooms, like, and turn them into movers, or have a different set of movers. I think the living part is easy. it's some small stuff that you'll realize, like you either got prepaid or postpaid electricity. Prepaid means I got to pay and put credit on my electricity, right? So before this call, my electricity went out because like you can't tell how much credit you have left. So you can't see, oh, my credit's running low, let me add it. It's just a crapshoot. Every day it's a crapshoot. Let me just add some credit on there just in case. If you have postpaid, then you pay after, right? Then you get a bill. You get a bill and saying, this is how much electricity you use, and you pay your bill. Other than that, I mean, living isn't really difficult. But I will say that it's very easy to get distracted here. It's very easy to be everywhere doing a lot in every meeting. It depends upon where you are in your life. If you're at that stage where you constantly turning up, you could turn up for 7 days a week and I cry. I cry is the capital of enjoyment. That's what I call it in my book. It is definitely the world capital of enjoyment. People know how to enjoy at every level, especially when you can get twisted on like 3 CDs with Apeteche. Like enjoyment does not stop. Like the way I see enjoyment here, I'll be like, yo, these people really know how to enjoy life. They appreciate their every breath they get it in. But yeah. So the living part I think is easy, especially if you stay focused. And one of the biggest things that I would tell people to do if you think about repatriating is don't do it alone. Don't do it in a silo. Like either do it with a partner or a family or somebody, like, because a lot of times I be here lonely, not lonely in a bad way, but it's like, I don't have nobody else who's going through what I'm going through, who's gonna understand the things that I do on a daily basis. And I don't have a partner here an accountability partner that I could who we always checking in with. So I do that with different people that I meet, but not somebody who I sat down with. We created a repatriation plan together, you know what I'm saying? And doing this and doing this and doing that. My wife, yes, but she's not here with me. And we come back and forth. And as you kind of saw in my history, we didn't necessarily plan out our repatriation. It was just kind of something that was like, it kind of led to it and happened. So I know I said a lot and I went over the amount of time that I wanted to, but it's family. So I added just a little extra. So Kos.
Okay, that was quite a bit. Thank you. Anybody have any questions, comments, experiences they want to share?
So Diallo, thank you, for presenting. That was wonderful. It's a lot of great information. My question to you is in relationship to the police and your feeling. I know you have made some statements about the police here in the US. Do you have the same feeling with the police in Ghana? And if it's different, why so, and how do you deal with it?
It's a different situation. So I remember the first time I was driving in Ghana, I did not get a Ghanaian license yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm riding dirty. And I got pulled over, man, and I was nervous. I was so nervous, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, they got AKs. They ain't got, and he came to the car. He's like, I'm like, can I help you? He's like, please step out. I'm like, what you looking for? He's like, we are looking for drugs and ammunition. I said, I ain't got none of that. Come on, search everything. Let me go. Go ahead, finish. Do everything you got to do so I could go. And then I was let go. But I realized that my anxiety came from my relationship with the police in America, not from Ghana. So you're going to run into certain things with police in Ghana, but if you're legal, nobody got a leg to stand on. Like if you ain't done nothing wrong, they can't make nothing wrong. And then what does get annoying is the police stops. Like the random stops on the road. Like those stops are literally just for money. It's not, they don't even hide it. It's like, Oh, your boys are here today. It's just like now I know whatever they're gonna say. So when I pull up on them, I just say everything they're gonna say before they say it. I'm just like, I know y'all want money. It's about 5 CDs, 10 CDs. And then I'll be like this, damn, I mean, if 500 people give these guys 10 CDs every day, they make it quite a bit. It gets to be annoying, but I know I ain't gonna get shot. Like for me, it's like, I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it's like, it ain't that bad, and it's Ghana. So it's like, ain't nothing a couple CDs won't handle. Ain't nothing a couple CDs can't cure. Okay, I need to give you a couple CDs, like, no problem. Just to make my day go easier. But again, I ain't getting shot by the police. I ain't getting tased. It's just a different kind of thing. I'm a black man, so I don't like police nowhere. I don't like no police and I don't like no taxi drivers because y'all ain't picked me up when I was growing up. I had to walk a lot of miles coming home from the club because taxi drivers wouldn't pick me up. So I know I have a problem with taxi drivers in general, and I have a problem with police that I'm working on that I'm not necessarily trying to settle. But you know how we came up. We got a problem with police everywhere we go because that relationship that we have with them is not cool. You know what I'm saying? But I have met a few police officers whose phone numbers I have, you know what I'm saying, in Ghana, and I could use them if I need to, but I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as America. Anyway.
I remember once, I don't remember if you were with me on Tiama Dama, but we were driving, being the tourists, and we got stopped at one of those stops and took a picture. And that police officer acted like he was gonna lose his mind. He took out his gun like he was gonna shoot us. And I don't remember who we were with. They must have dashed him something or whatever, told him we didn't understand that we're not supposed to take pictures of the police. But it was really scary. I'll never forget it.
We have a question here, Diallo. What are your thoughts on retirement in Ghana on a pension?
I think it can happen easily. It just depends on your pension amount and how you want to live. So I think actually places like Ghana are ideal. So you have like the African American Association of Ghana, which was started by African American women with Ghanaian husbands. And so many of them and other people have moved to Ghana on their pension. Like, so if I've been trying to get my mother to move for 2 years, but she out here running the streets like she 18 again. So I can't get her. I was like, you can tell her, I talk about her. I've been like, Mom, I could take care of you better in Ghana. Like, I'm worried less if you're here. But if you have a pension, depending upon how much you have coming in every month, like if you got $1,500, which most people's pension is more than that, but if you got a couple $1,000s coming in every month, you're good. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just decide to ball out or whatever, but you're good. You can definitely manage finding a nice place to rent, or depending on where you want to live, I did it a way that I don't suggest anybody doing it. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't plan it. I suggest you plan it. I suggest you build a house before you come. Or, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's a small house, you build it. Once your house is built, if you think about it, the majority of our expenses is our mortgage and our rent. Most of us don't have an expense in our budget line items at home that's more than our rent or our mortgage. If most of us took away our rent or our mortgage, we have a lot more money to do things with. So once you have a place here, I started off renting an apartment. Now I'm renting a townhouse in East Legon, and every time I pay for it, I pay quarterly, or I just think about how much I'm spending. I'm asking myself if I should continue to do that, because when I count how much more I can do with the money. But I'm in the process of building my first building right now, inside of Yame Betchade, which is a 12-bedroom guest house, kind of, sort of. Each bathroom has an en-suite. And I decided to build that before I built my personal house, the place where I'm going to live, because I wanted to build something that, number one, could bring residual income and passive income over time. And number two, I needed to build an economic center for Yame Betchade. So the only way that I'm going to really help the shrine here grow and the community grow is to make sure that there is a way for money to constantly come in and out of that community without me being there or people or directly. So by having this building, we now have an economic center in Yame Betchade that's going to change the landscape of the whole community, and that's going to change the landscape of the shrine. So now it's almost as if the shrine has to have its own support mechanism. So the shrine becomes a line item in the budget so that we know, based on the ROI and the money that's being made, certain things are always, it's just certain, the shrine just gets a cut like everything else, right? So now you know, at some point, we're not gonna have to worry about taking donations for festivals. We still gonna take them so that people can, you know, contribute and get their blessings, but it's not gonna be compulsory, and we're not gonna rely on that to do the festival because the money is being made. You know what I'm saying? And so, and it's taking care of itself. So, you know, there are things that people can do to live on a pension or to live on less money. It just really depends on where and how. Like, you know, I purge every year. So I've already kind of really I went through this whole thing where I disconnected myself from material things. So I don't really have, like, I don't really need nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just need to be able to get from place to place and have a good time. But there are not a lot of things that I need. I don't have to have a certain car, a certain kind of house, a certain this, certain that, certain that. I'm just kind of good with whatever I have.
We have another question. Can you talk about setting up business in Ghana prior to moving there?
Yeah, that's not something that's difficult to do. I mean, you're going to need to have a residency permit. So we can help you get your residency permit on a visit because we need your passport. And then once you have your residency permit, you can decide, you know, I used a lawyer to set up my business here. So some people are like, you used a lawyer, you could have done this, you could have done that. I'm like, yeah, but I didn't. Like, I just used a lawyer. I wanted it done fast, and I wanted to make sure that I had somebody who was licensed to do law in Ghana set it up, so that I could have it. It's not too difficult to do. It can happen fairly quickly. There are some rules, like technically, if you're a foreigner setting up a business, you have to have $500,000 in assets or credit or something. You got to have $500,000 on the ground. If you do it as a partner with a Ghanaian, I think that money comes down to like 250,000. And then if it's a technical, fully Ghanaian business, it's like 500 CDs. Like, you know, so that's one of the main benefits of citizenship, is being able to do that. But there is a way around everything. You know, that's why if you have a lawyer, then you have somebody who can help you set up a business that technically is Ghanaian, but you own it, you know. And a lot of times in business, it depends on what you're doing. What are you concerned about? The website, the name, or the brand? Or are you concerned about who has access to the bank account? So you're able to set this up so that you're the only one that has access to the bank account and to stuff like that. There are ways to do all of that.
Okay. I think you already answered this question. Can you explain a little bit more about residency? Do you have to live there for a while to get it, so you can establish that on a visit, right?
Yeah, you can establish, well, I mean, you can. It
Permit,
depends on how long you're going to be here, because sometimes it takes a little while. Like, if you come in for 30 days, I wouldn't suggest doing it. I wouldn't suggest planning on leaving with it if you're staying for less than 30 days, because it could take some time. But if you come and you just like, yo, I'm gonna be here for like 3 months. Oh yeah, you can have your residency before you leave and have a business set up.
Okay, do you have any connections with people who know how to design and construct earth homes?
There's one brother here named Brandon Rogers, and he does it using earth bags. And I just met another sister from Mississippi. As a matter of fact, she owed me a sweet potato pie because she told me she knew how to make sweet potato pie. But she also built a house out of earth bags. Is there a company that does it? I'm not sure. But I know that there are people who are experimenting with like different types of buildings, earth bags and stuff like that. But definitely Brandon Rogers, I forget the name of his company. You could probably find him on Facebook. He's somebody that I know has a business that does it.
Do you know where the hotel is that's owned by Dr. Jeffries and Professor Smalls, and do you know how it's doing?
You know, I don't know that they still own that hotel. It's been closed for 2 years. So I remember talking with Professor Smalls about it. And I know that just from inside scoop, I know that they were in some conversations with Ghana Tourism and some other people about how it can be rescued and saved. But I know that whatever challenges that they ran into with it, I just don't know where they are with it. But I believe it was in the central region, Cape Coast, Elmina area. I have never been there personally. I saw some pictures, so I actually need to call Brother James Smalls. So yeah.
Do you know if there's a benefit or not to having an NGO versus money-making business?
I was looking at the comment under that. Shouts out to the Reds. There's a benefit or not to having an NGO. It really depends on what you want to do. Like, you know, it really depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it. And so you're going to have some benefits on it to an NGO because of what it is. So as an NGO, you'll be able to accept donations from 501c3 nonprofits in the US. But what happens is in your audit and in everything else, are you doing the things that an NGO is supposed to do? Are you operating in that way versus as a private business? I don't necessarily know that, you know, in America now, like there's so many social media influencers that make you feel like as soon as you get an LLC, you're gonna be rich. Like, so it's like, I mean, like, yo, y'all killing me. But it really depends on what you want to do. If you want to have a private enterprise, or if the work that you want to do is nonprofit. Now, if you have connections with potential donors, et cetera, then the only way to really make money on a nonprofit here is going to be based on really what your salary is. But, you know, at any point, if you get called to GRA or anybody else and you got to have that audit, you just want to be able to show that you're operating based on your company's bylaws and what you said you're going to do. So the benefit could really be up to you in kind of how you want to do it. Exactly. Migrating culture. Thank you. Brandon Rogers. That's
Can you explain what an NGO is?
Non-governmental organization. It's Africa's similarity to a 501c3 nonprofit. So it's a not-for-profit, non-governmental organization that's created and established to do some kind of community service, some kind of corporate service responsibility, but it's not necessarily built for profit as much as it is for community development.
Any other questions or comments? This was kind of amazing.
What?
Thank you. Your presentation.
Oh, thank you. It's you know, I'm in it. Like I'm knee deep. Like I'm sometimes I'm too far in it, and you gotta take a break and come back home. But I mean, I realize that I'm not just doing this for me. You know, like I'm gonna just talk about my brother Osei a little bit because he's somebody that I know who was coming back and forth to Ghana for a long time. And he was Nana Yao's first trainee that I know. So he had been coming back and forth to Nyame. So he saw Nyame Vetre when it was all bush. Like, you know, so I know that I'm able to do some of the things I'm able to do with Nana Yao because Osei had already, like, we talk about it all the time. I'm like, you already went through all of that, bro. I ain't got to go through none of that. We got ACs in Nyame Vetre now. We got power. We got everything. That was your era. But when he came, and I think the first time me and him went out, and I like he gets it. He saw it. Like he came and saw it. Was like, yo, bro, I never really did this part of Ghana. The only thing that I've done for years is I came just to do my spiritual work, my shrine work, and I would just focus on that. And I didn't realize Ghana had this much other stuff to do, and that you could. And he moved on it. He acted on it. And for the past 2 years, he's brought a group in December, Black Star Travel Group. So now, by me being on ground and having the knowledge that I have, it's helped him create another channel or avenue of business for him that he knows he has somebody here he could trust and work with where he can move with a lot of confidence. Like, you know what I'm saying? My brother over there got me. He's going to handle everything on the ground. I'm going to handle this side. So I know that
What happened?
eventually more people will be like, may take it a little more seriously and want to do some things. But I realize that I've always felt like I was here on reconnaissance kind of thing. I was here on reconnaissance and I was here to kind of set up stuff and be that guy to be able to help bridge the gap in some ways.
Great, thank you. Any other comments or questions?
Let me just say that the Wi-Fi gods, we need a festival for the Wi-Fi gods too.
Sure.
They working tonight, like normally.
They deserve a wildebeest.
But honestly, when I'm on at night, it's a lot smoother because there are not that many people on. So it's 11 p.m. It's 1 a.m. now, but we started around 11. So, but during the daytime, during the daytime in Ghana, it's a lot more interference. So,
I'm Commissioner, you had a question, your hand raised.
Yeah, I put it in the chat, but I think you might have missed it. Thank you. Do you have any associations with the Cape Coast, the Pan-African Village in Asebo?
I'm about to actually get my plot. I do have connections in Cape Coast. The brother Kwame, who kind of oversees it and does all of that, that's my guy. I was just out there. My other brother, Steve Coakley from Chicago, he's just about finished. He's building a black think tank in his house at Osebu. Rabbi Kohen, like all the people in Cape Coast, those are my family. That's my family out there. I just haven't, I haven't got my plots yet, but I'm about to just go ahead and do it. I'm about to just go ahead and do it.
I was asking because I did get a plot with them, and it would be good to have like a family member on the ground who I know and trust.
Okay. You have a plot at a city?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Congratulations. I'm definitely gonna I'm definitely gonna do something out there. I'm just trying. I just gotta figure it out when I'm gonna go out there and do it.
Okay.
Awesome.
I have a personal question. I put it in the chat. Do you know Yazid Muhammad?
Yazid Muhammad. No.
Yazid. He and his mother started a restaurant. They repatriated and they started a restaurant, born again African Ghana soul food.
Where at?
It's in Atimpoku. It's right after the Adomi Bridge.
Okay,
Off the
so
Volta River. They got a nice piece of land right there by the Volta River. And I think he would be a good contact for you. If you Google born again African soul food.
like, do they got like cornbread, black eyed peas, soul food?
Well, let me explain. He married a sister from Ghana, right? She does the jollof, and he taught her how to fry the chicken. So they have some American food, but they have a really nice place. There's a cultural center. They have a few stages. They made a recreational park for the children. They got a nice piece of land right off of the river. And I think he would be a good contact for you. He repatriated years ago. His mother's with the ancestors now, but he and his mother started the restaurant.
Born again African soul food?
Yes.
Right, like something.
Right now, if you Google it, I'm looking at it right now on Google. Born again. They used to say born again African Ghana soul food, but I guess they took out Ghana. They just have born again African.
Yeah, I'll check it out because that's over there in Akosimbo. You said near the bridge, right?
Right. It's right after when you come off the bridge, it's like a little small marketplace there, and the restaurant is right there.
Okay, I'll check it out. I'll check it out because I send groups there a lot. I have a spot called Afrikiko out there that when groups come in town, I send them to Afrikiko. If you're not going to Royal Senchi, then we go to Afrikiko out there. So I'll definitely check it out. Especially if they got real Black American fried chicken, like not Ghana fried chicken, but Black American batter. I have a few people here that I can call for a dinner, like macaroni and cheese, cranberry sauce with real cranberries, stuffing, like that realness. They're African Americans who moved here. But I got aunties here that I could be like, auntie, I need that. I need that Thanksgiving dinner. Can we make it happen?
Thank you for your transparency. This was excellent. I love your stories. Oh my goodness, this was wonderful. I was trying to cook, so I'm back and forth, but I'm loving this. I'm gonna look at the recording. I hope it was recorded. I'm gonna look at the recording too.
Thank you. That used to get me in trouble. Nana Yao, who's on here, Nana, you see that even though I used to get in trouble for being a clown and being silly, it's paying off now.
The stories make it real.
It's real life. Like it's literal real life. So, you know.
Yeah, that's my little story, man.
Thank you very much, Diallo, for your good information.
Yes.
Thank you, Nana.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we need to close out. I want to say thanks again to Diallo for his
Hey, Aiko, hey.
I see you, Madas.
We hope you're going to join us tomorrow. The session we have tomorrow evening is Black Family. And it's going to be presented by Wofa Yao Tyus. So we hope that you will tune in at the same time, 7 o'clock. And the link will be exactly the same. So please definitely share with everyone, tell the family, and continue to comment on Facebook about how awesome these things are, okay? Thank you.
I got one question. I'm sorry. I didn't think about till now. When you talked about people returning back to Africa to buy property or buy land, I understood there were also another, can't remember, on the other side of the mountain of Mount Palm, you could buy land. Is this still connect with that, or is it different?
I mean, you can buy land everywhere they're selling, but you mean through a specific program?
Yeah, I guess I need to get a little more information about the different programs that are happening.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with. I mean, when the year of return happened, a lot of people was like, "Yeah, you can come get land," but I think Asable and the Central Region are the only ones who really like zoned in and made it happen, and you know, have a lot of people buying land, building, and are reputable enough where it's kind of some level of transparency. It's the only place that I visited that I know the people who running it, that, you know, the whole kind of thing. I was actually at the New York consulate when they launched it there too, in New York. So I know that's real.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining us. Good night. Get some sleep. Thank you, Diallo. Your eyes are burning. I see you need to sleep.
Hey,
I see.
everyone.
Good night. Good night.
Thanks again, brother. Have a good one. Get some rest.
Thanks for staying up, Diallo. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Really appreciate the information
Yeah.
and your experiences.
Thanks for your
Awesome.
pioneering spirit.
He didn't tell us where we could get his book, though.
Oh, yeah, he said it was online, but we didn't
Um,
find how much it
Adinka
was gonna
Group,
cost.
Adinka Group.
theadinkagroup.com.
Oh, the Adinka. Oh, they did put it on there. Okay.
Adinkagroup.com.
Adinka.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. See you guys tomorrow.
Good
Bye-bye.
night. Good night. 7
Good
o'clock.
night.
Good night. Thank you, Coach Joa.
Good
Night.
night.
Diallo.